Monk Yunrou here. Welcome to the Forbidden Rice podcast. Many years ago, my primary Taoist master talked to me about sickness and health. And he told me that what we want to do is we want to notice how we feel each morning. We want to see, do we feel a little logy, foggy, tired, uplifted, happy, sad, energetic, dragging. We want to notice when we get a little sniffle or our stomach isn't quite right. And we want to notice these deviations from what scientists would call the line of homeostasis, that state in which we are perfectly balanced all the time, physically, in terms of our health. And we want to notice when we have a little up and then we have a little down. We have a little up and we have a little down. And as long as we're getting those regular ups and downs, but the amplitude of the up and the amplitude of the down is modest, we're in good shape. Everything is working fine. The problem is that when you go too high, Taoist philosophy tells us that things have to come into balance, and then you have to go all the way down again. And so if you're incredibly up and full of energy and feel yourself unaccountably amazing one day, you may over time gain the experience of noticing that you're sick the next day. That you really might be the beginning of a cold. And whether this is your body ramping up to fight off an invader, or it's your own perception of energy one day compared to the next, the bottom line is that there are cycles in everything. And as it is in the human body, so it is too in the world around us. Taoist philosophy is full, rife, rich with the study of cycles, trends. Understanding cycles really well helps us predict what is to come. By understanding what happened before, we can look and see what the pattern is. So in our political environment, we have recently seen a big and surprising to some swing of the pendulum, if you'll forgive my mixing metaphors, from an oscilloscope to a pendulum. So if we swing really, really far in one direction, the way our country has been for the last 8 years, with the kind of leadership and social policies we've had, the kind of improvements and growths, depending on how you view it, or the kind of difficulties and poor direction that we've taken, and we swing. In order to come back to some kind of central point, we have to swing all the way back to the kind of leader we have just elected. The problem with the big swinging pendulum is that although it is entirely natural and normal, the pendulum has momentum, power, mass, and weight. And sometimes in its transit, it can knock you over and create problems. So, best not to get too excited about the swing of the pendulum, but to recognize that cycles are part of universal law and human nature too. Even little violent monkeys like us have our cycles, just like galaxies have their cycles and political parties have their times in power and out of power. The issue now, regardless of how you feel about what may be to come with new foreign and domestic policies, we don't as yet know what the results of misogyny and religious intolerance may be. We don't yet know what the results of a focus on only the rich and on tax breaks for corporations we don't know what those things may cause yet in terms of the social fabric of our country. We don't know yet what the international ramifications of our new posture regarding our alliances, our previous commitments, and forces who are against us at work in this world. We really can't predict any of that with certainty. But the one thing we can predict is that an administration which avows that global warming is a Chinese hoax and pays no attention whatsoever to the tremendous devastation of sentient beings and our environment, the fracking, the drilling, the ocean pollution, the reducing forests to kindling, the desertification of the taiga and the tundra. Any administration that does all that is going to have a big and hopefully not irreversible effect on the place we call home. So when you think about what position you would like to take regarding what is happening in our country right now, when you think about what bandwagon you might or might not like to jump on, either pro or con, when you think about what work there is for you to do, please think first and foremost about this little rock floating in space that we call home. Because if we destroy it, everything else, our personal ambitions, our petty greed, our preoccupations, our bigotry, our racism, our judgments, our preferences, our divisiveness, our hobbies, our children, our livelihood, our homes, all of that stuff, including our country, won't mean anything because there won't be a place for us to live. So please give this careful thought, and when you do, remember the Taoist three treasures of compassion, frugality, and humility. In your actions, be compassionate. In your interactions with others, be humble. And when it comes to your resources, any kind of resources that you use or that are at your disposal, please be frugal. Thanks for joining me for this latest installment of the Forbidden Rice podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. For more, to go deeper into my world, my books, my speaking, my teaching, and to sign up for my newsletter, visit monkyunrou.com.